From Taylor Swift to Justin Bieber, and even Ellen's best friend, Rosie O'Donnell, some of the biggest names in Hollywood are finally coming out against Ellen. And this is only the beginning. Ellen's career is dead, and her association with Diddy is why she's allegedly afraid to come back to the US. Ellen wasn't just mean, she was abusive, and her lies are finally falling apart. I called her out. I was like, Ellen's not that nice. This is after you went on the show? After I went on the show. What was it like meeting Ellen, and is she a good person? Let's just all go back to 2017 where I was the first person to call Ellen out before anyone you called her out? Yeah. What do you mean? I called her out. I was like, Ellen's not that nice. This is after you went on the show? After I went on the show and the world blew up about it and was like so mad at me about it, and then someone else said it, and then it was like, oh my God, Ellen's not nice. Why do you say she's not nice? I can't explain it. It was just really, I ran into her like backstage. It was like an awkward thing, and like the producers were really scared. I was like, what's going on? They're like, that was not supposed to happen. We're going to get in trouble. It's like so weird. She was like, hey, it was like, so I was like, oh, hi. Like, I was like, I'm so excited. And she was like, Ellen started The Ellen Show back in 2003 and slowly rose to fame as the nicest comedian in Hollywood. At one point, Ellen was the face of talk shows. Every celebrity was invited. However, 19 seasons and 19 years later, the show was suddenly shut down amid allegations of serious workplace and harassment. Employees who had worked with Ellen for more than a decade claimed that behind the scenes Ellen was a completely different person, and her persona as a kind and caring person was a complete lie. An independent investigation into these claims proved that Ellen was lying. And although Ellen tried to move past the allegations, the damage was done. Ellen DeGeneres is speaking out about reports of workplace mistreatment in a letter to her staff. The talk show host shared her initial reaction to the allegations from current and former employees and revealed what actions are being taken to improve company culture. Ellen said she was disappointed to learn about the claims in a recent BuzzFeed article citing the show's enormous growth over the years and her increased reliance on people to do their jobs as they knew I'd want them done. She went on to acknowledge that clearly some didn't. I don't think you achieve anything by bullying people. In a statement to ET, Warner Brothers, the studio behind Ellen's show, claims they have interviewed dozens of current and former employees in the wake of these allegations. They say that during their investigation, it was revealed that there were some deficiencies related to the show's day-to-day management, and that moving forward, the studio and Ellen are committed to creating a workplace based on respect and inclusion. I stay grateful and I try to stay humble, and I think that I pay attention to what is important and what is real. These misconduct allegations stem from a BuzzFeed article that was published last week, which included anonymous accounts from a dozen former and one current employee. The end of The Ellen Show was the end of Ellen's career. She had spent her entire career mocking other celebrities and digging into everyone's private lives. And this is when she realized that no one really liked her. The allegations weren't what killed Ellen's career. It was the realization that Ellen was a compulsive liar who would build an entire fake personality just to get what she wanted. Before Ellen started her own show, she was best friends with Rosie O'Donnell. The second she got a taste of fame, however, Ellen pushed her away and claimed that she didn't even know who Rosie was. I thought of you when Ellen DeGeneres went through her thing, and she goes, my advice to everybody is, if you're going to be known as something, being known as the Be Kind lady is probably going to bite you in the ass. And I wondered what you to that whole queen of nice. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. Did you think it bit you in the ass? I wasn't aware of that, but not in the way that Ellen's talking about, I think, but, I said the day it came out, look at this, the queen of nice. In a couple years, it's going to be the queen of lice, the queen of fried rice, the queen of we don't like her anymore. Like, I have an understanding of the cycle of show business and kind of what happens in people's careers and when enough is enough. And oftentimes people don't know that. I think I have a good balance of both in my life, of the importance of both. And it's hard to maintain. It's hard to do. especially when you're doing a show like that. But, I don't think it was the be kind thing that got her. I think that's a simplification, but it was a lot of things and it was complicated. And I'm glad that she's, going to be finished and she can get some time, to herself. It's a huge kind of strange thing to be on a show like that and have all that attention on you. And she had it for like 19 years. So, it's a tough thing. Ellen's employees weren't the only ones that hated Ellen. Ellen's insults came back to haunt her after the Ellen show ended. Some of the biggest celebrities in Hollywood publicly came out against Ellen. Taylor Swift, for example, talked about how Ellen had tried to shame and spread rumors about her dating life. Despite Taylor telling Ellen multiple times that she wasn't comfortable, Ellen just kept laughing at her. Taylor Swift has her biggest enemy on the television, and it's The Ellen Show. Here's every time when Ellen made Taylor Swift really uncomfortable. Does your boyfriend like the way it smells? I don't have one. I keep telling you that. Just trying. Trying. Just don't. Like, it's not like if I didn't and I was like, I don't have a boyfriend. Like, you'd know I had a boyfriend. I don't have someone that I'm texting. That's a guy that might someday be my boyfriend. There's like nothing going on right now. I don't know. I haven't talked to him in a while because we didn't date. Yes, you do. Why do you deny it? 'Cause we didn't. Okay, so which song is about Zach on the new CD? There's nothing really about Zach on the CD because we didn't date. So, yeah. Okay. When you have spare time, you drive past your ex-boyfriend's houses. I'm not like throwing eggs. I'm just checking up on them. Checking up on what the front of their house looks like. I mean, it's really like an act of public service, Just seeing if they're okay. So you have unresolved business. You still have crushes on your no, 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 no. So what are you doing? I don't know. In an interview with Zane Lowe for Apple Music, Taylor referenced the same interview and called Ellen out for her behavior. Like I said, Ellen's insults were coming back to haunt her. Ellen was never funny. She just insulted people and acted like everyone was supposed to laugh. Time. So I can't when I was like 23 and people were just like kind of reducing me to like kind of making slideshows of like my dating life and putting people in there that I'd sat next to at a party once and deciding that my songwriting was like a trick rather than a skill and a craft. Kind of it's a way to take a woman who's doing her job and succeeding at doing her job and making things. And it's in a way it's figuring out how to completely minimize that skill by taking something that everyone, in their darkest moments loves to do, which is to shame. And so now when I see this happening, I can see a headline about a young artist, about a young female artist, about like another breakup, and it makes it spent. It sends me into a you back there to a degree. It sends me into a real sad place because I don't want that to keep happening. And I don't think people understand how easy it is to infer that someone who's a female artist or a female in our industry is somehow doing something wrong by wanting love, wanting money, wanting success. Women are not allowed to want those things. And who can forget the time Ellen made fun of Justin Bieber when his private photos got leaked? Justin had a rough time in Hollywood from the start due to all the paparazzi. Now, if you go back in 2015, paparazzi managed to sneak non-consensual intimate pictures of Justin Bieber as he was going to his hotel room naked. At the time, Justin was 21 and Ellen was 58. This is how she reacted to a teenager's privacy being attacked. And known for her sharp, celebrity-focused stand-up, TV work, and reality show, Kathy Griffin, My Life on the D-List, also spoke out against Ellen, saying that everyone in the comedy business knew what kind of person Ellen really was. Allegedly, no one liked Ellen and considered her as an enemy that was ready to do whatever it took to get to the top. I just love giving Ellen because it just never gets old. She just can't stand it. She has no sense of humor about herself. We had a fight one time that was a knockdown, drag-out, screaming on the phones. Both of us screaming. And I think that's so funny. Like, picture Kathy Griffin and Ellen DeGeneres split screen, both with our cell phones and assistants screaming at each other. Over what? She thought Joan Rivers was not funny, but Joan was just mean. And I think Joan was not only not mean, but she was a genius. but also that Ellen kind of owed part of her career to the fact that Joan was the first woman to have a talk show, broke the glass ceiling for women in talk, whether you like her or not. Without a shadow of a doubt, every female comedian to ever step up to a mic or tell a joke. And by the way, Joan would thank Phyllis Diller. Phyllis Diller would thank Moms Mabley and Toady Fields. We're pretty good about knowing right and wrong. And so anyway, I just make fun of Ellen because she doesn't take it well, and I just get a kick out of it, and she'll never see it. She's not the type of person that would watch my special. Yeah, I'm talking about Ellen DeGeneres. Now I have to just complain. To you? Well, here's the thing. In my very last dinner with Joan Rivers, we would always check in with each other, and I'd be like, "Where are you with Ellen?" And she'd be like, "Ugh, still hates me." And she'd go, "Well, what about you?" And I'd say, "Oh, she thinks I'm mean." And the truth is, I guess I feel like I'm sticking up for a pal. I think Ellen's achievements are fantastic. How could I not? But, like I said, there's so few female comics over 50 that are making a living or doing okay. We need to support each other, and I just thought, what am I waiting for? But almost every time Joan Rivers and I would get together, we'd be like, "Anything from Ellen?" "No." "You?" "No." And it wasn't it was more like, "Oh, I wish we were better at supporting each other." But also, of course, I don't like being labeled as mean. I mean, and funny, fine. But I can just tell you for a fact, Joan Rivers didn't have a mean bone in her body. And I wish Ellen would have really celebrated her more, because Ellen has such an amazing, incredible platform, and she's such a true influencer. And, Joan broke the glass ceiling for women talk show hosts, for sure. The one celebrity that had nothing bad to say about Ellen and supported her throughout the allegations was Diddy. Ellen invited Diddy on her show 17 different times and claimed that she knew exactly what was going on at his parties. It's like every criminal in Hollywood is connected to each other. Only the criminals support each other. Cat Williams said that Diddy only allowed his most trusted friends into his after-parties, and Cat had to stand in the parking lot watching some special guest go up to Diddy's mansion for an after-party. Ellen was allegedly one of these guests. Some investigative journalists have also linked Ellen's show shutting down to the Epstein files. Back in 2022, the FBI announced that a black book with a list of Epstein's friends had been discovered. The timing of Ellen's fleeing the U.S. also lines up with Diddy's arrest. In 2024, a month after the FBI raided Diddy's Miami mansion, Ellen announced that she was leaving the U.S. forever and moved to the U.K. with her wife. Birds of a feather flock together. They're losing them all. She sounded so sincere, didn't she? Very sincere. Virtually choke on her words. But the best one for me is Ellen DeGeneres, who is, by the way, a very nasty person. I've had dealings with her in Australia. Oh, bit. Could I tell you some stories about that cow? But anyway, good riddance to her. But she was quite friendly with that P. Diddy bloke, wasn't she? Well, this is why I say release the Diddy files. Yeah. So, come on, Donald Trump, we want to know whose name. So maybe she's hightailing out of there before all that destroying at her as well. But what a bunch of hypocrites. Ellen DeGeneres and her wife, Portia de Rossi, have reportedly fled the U.S. bound for the U.K. after Donald Trump's landslide victory. Numerous publications are reporting the couple have left the United States permanently. There are also reports the couple have put their Montecito mansion on the market. Entertainment publication The Wrap has the exclusive story and said Ellen DeGeneres and wife, Portia de Rossi, have moved to rural England, put their Montecito estate on the market, and plan to never return to the United States, telling friends the election of Donald Trump was their primary motivation. Ellen DeGeneres has been a vocal Trump critic, so the move doesn't come as a surprise to most. Ellen DeGeneres has been seen rocking a new hair color since moving to the UK. The comedian changed her signature blonde look to brunette as she was seen enjoying a night out with friends at a pub called The Farmer's Dog. Ellen went out with her wife, Portia de Rossi, and a few friends including the Torn singer Natalie Imbruglia. Sources told TMZ earlier this week that Ellen and Portia moved to England because of Donald Trump's re-election. They have reportedly settled into their new home in the southwest region of England, but they purchased the property before the election. Supporters of these theories suggest that Ellen's studio set was actually designed to mirror the temple found on Epstein's private island. Beyond the architecture, online sources have highlighted bizarre symbolism hidden within her content. For instance, in March 2020, as the world entered lockdown, Ellen released a cryptic video featuring a hoodie with a red, bloodied face, the same imagery later seen on Jay-Z. Symbolism will be their downfall. Or is it just art? And let me be the first to tell you, it's all connected. I mean, if you know, you know. But first, let's go back to that video of Ellen DeGeneres. When the camera turns, you can see the inside of her house. Now see that picture right there? Well, if you pause it and look it up, it says "evil thoughts with revenge" right next to it. Here's another picture of Ellen in her house, and this is the picture behind it. Now, the thing I'm curious about is the letters on top of the picture. These look oddly similar to the letters Marina Abramovich writes out when she does spirit cooking. Remember the beginning of the video? It's all connected. And that person that was in all red is Lady Gaga, and she went to Marina Abramovich many times for teaching. But let's continue. This is another picture of Ellen in her home. She's cutting her mother's hair, but what is that picture above her head? Look at it. Oh, well, you know where that is too, right? There's a similar image to that, right? No, I know Jamie does. What is it? It's on the set of a famous talk show that's now not on anymore. Oh, Ellen? Was that Ellen? Yeah. Really? Like, just look at the temple and then look at the "let me see Ellen's" background. What? As if all this wasn't enough, 4 months after Ellen shut down her show, the executive producer that had been with Ellen for 8 years died under mysterious circumstances. Stephen Twitch Boss ended up taking his life in 2022 and left a note behind for his wife, where he mentioned being under a great burden that he couldn't reveal. He did allegedly say that all of his problems were connected to the time he spent on The Ellen Show. Early on the morning of Tuesday, December 12th, Twitch packed a small bag with only a change of clothes and his handgun, slipped out of his house without telling Allison, turned his phone to airplane mode so he couldn't be tracked, and took an Uber to the Oak Tree Inn, a dreary 2-story motel in a hacienda-style building on heavily trafficked Ventura Boulevard just a mile from his house, and paid $107 to reserve a room for a single night. Twitch made his way down to room 249 and let himself in. Allison reported to police that Twitch was missing shortly after he left the house, noting with particular worry that she couldn't reach him by phone, and he had not taken his car with him when he left. 2 things that she said were very much out of character for him. Because there were no details about Twitch's death, people just rushed to fill that void. This was at the time when Ellen had built this edifice as the nicest person on television. She would have YouTube stars, and all of a sudden that edifice was crumbling. Ellen posted videos of herself crying over Twitch's death, but just months later was denying that any of it ever took place in court. In 2024, Ellen even released her comedy special with Netflix titled Ellen DeGeneres for Your Approval. In this show, Ellen actually laughed at her employees for claiming she was harassing them, given the fact that someone so close to her actually committed suicide over this issue and she's choosing to laugh at his insane. Is Ellen DeGeneres rewriting history? That's what some of her former staffers claim she's doing in her new Netflix stand-up special, For Your Approval. I got kicked out of show business. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, 'cause I'm mean. Yeah. Yeah, you can't be mean and be in show business. No, they'll kick you out. She uses jokes to address the controversy. I was in therapy for a while trying to deal with all the hatred that was coming at me. And at one point, my therapist said, "Ellen, where do you get this idea that everyone hates you?" And I said, "Well, New York Times, Washington Post, Entertainment Weekly, Us Weekly. I think Elmo may have said something recently on an episode of Sesame Street, but this producer who worked with her takes issue with how she's addressing allegations that there was a toxic work environment at her legendary talk show. The essence of the special really was totally a lie. Hedda Muscat says Ellen's special hits all the wrong notes. I felt Ellen was not taking responsibility at all. She was sugarcoating it. All of this is coming from the same person who claimed to be the queen of being nice. Joe Rogan actually talked about this. On the surface, most celebrities will act like they're the nicest person in the world, but in reality, they don't respect you or think you're worthy of their attention. Joe Rogan said that Hollywood elites treat you like you're beneath them. Frankly, Ellen couldn't care less about her employees. There's an arrogance that some stars had, like particularly in the 90s. When I first came to Hollywood, and this was like really evident for me because I was not a star, but I was on a television show, so I got to be around a lot of stars. And there was a way that some of them would treat you. They would let you know that you are subhuman. You are below them. They would communicate with you with the most disrespectful and dismissive ways. Like weird. Got like mousy guys that I could, right? Like instantly. And they would just be rude to you in a really weird way because they had power. They had power, and then when an executive would come over, they would turn on the charm. They'd be smiling and laughing, and then you would talk to them at the craft service, and they would dismiss you in the weirdest ways. I encountered a bunch of that. Yeah, it was commonplace, and it was, I think, a thing that they aspired to. It's so weird when you see like a lot of people saying that someone who seems so nice is not nice at all. Doesn't seem nice, but that's that people have a very poor judge of character. She doesn't seem nice. It seems forced. People that are like that all the time, she doesn't seem nice. It's very forced. And whatever. You're allowed to be a trait, you're allowed to be a trait, you're allowed to be nasty to people. You're accomplished, you're comedian, you did the whole thing. What you're not allowed to do, is have a Guantanamo Bay situation in the backstage of your show, where everybody's walking around afraid for their life. And it's like Abu Ghraib, where they're hooked up to wires and they have like, yeah, she's got dogs and hoods. If an intern's late, they have a hood on. I don't support that. That's just me. Yeah, I'm with you. In June 2025, Cho discussed their history on The Kelly Mantle Show, alleging Ellen was weird and not nice to her for much of her career, claiming Ellen acted like a stranger despite Cho opening for her in the 1980s comedy clubs, and edited out David Bowie praising Cho's outfit. What, Ellen was like really weird and not nice to me for most of my career, and like, cause I opened for her in the 1980s when she was a headliner in comedy clubs, and not way before her big fame. And so then when I would do her talk show in the 2000s, she acted like we just met. And I'm like, what? One of those times. I'm like, what? Like, that's weird. Like, it's like we go way back. What? Like, it's so creepy and weird. But, also the other thing was David Bowie had been on the show, and he was so excited that the night before that, I had come to his show wearing this giant Chinese emperor outfit. He was really thrilled about it, and he talked at length about it, and she cut it out of the show, which made me so mad. And the producer, who's a really good friend of mine, had to call me and tell me I can't believe she did this, but she cut it out of the show. But you need to know that he was going on and on about your outfit. He loves you. God said your name. Which is so rude. So I don't know if it was personal. Maybe it was the time, but still I'm going to take it personally. Just because I decided to have sent her a note and said, send me the footage. I'll post it to my YouTube. I know it exists somewhere. It makes sense why none of Ellen's employees were ready to testify on her behalf. Almost everyone said that Ellen was a sadist who liked to humiliate the people working for her. The biggest problem for Ellen now is that people are not just looking at one awkward interview or one rude joke anymore. They're looking at the pattern, the celebrity interviews, the workplace allegations, the strange Hollywood friendships, the connection to Diddy, the timing of her leaving the United States, the way she laughed off the accusations in her comedy special. And the more people look back, the harder it becomes for Ellen to hide behind that be kind image. This TV personality is speaking out about what it was like working closely with Ellen DeGeneres. What happened, Tony? Tony Okungboa was the on-air DJ at The Ellen Show for 11 years. Now he is addressing allegations of a toxic work environment that is threatening Ellen's reputation as the Queen of Nice. While I am grateful for the opportunity it afforded me, I did experience and feel the toxicity of the environment, he writes on Instagram. I stand with my former colleagues in their quest to create a healthier and more inclusive workplace as the show moves forward. He joins a long list of former producers, including Hedda Muscat, who accused Ellen of turning a blind eye to alleged mistreatment happening behind the scenes. It didn't have to go down this way. She could have been brilliantly talented in front of the camera and carried that backstage, and she didn't. Every Friday we were shaking, who's going to get fired this Friday? Do you think Ellen's career is really over for good, or do you think Hollywood will eventually let her make another comeback? And do you think celebrities are only speaking out now because Ellen no longer has the same power she once had? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And before you go, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because this story is far from over. More names are being exposed, more old clips are resurfacing, and Hollywood's nice girl image is falling apart piece by piece.